Hello again, everybody. This is the second video I'm doing for the high-low rigs. Again, this is a jig I made for tying high-low rigs to make it quick and easy. You got your hook at the top, 2 sets of dowel rods for making your loops, and then at the bottom I've got a peg for holding your mono. So in this one, I'm going to be using a pair of crimp pliers, 0.08 millimeter crimps, and #1 Gamakatsu circle hooks. So to start this, what I always do is I'll take my mono, and I'm using 60-pound test for this, so you won't need a shock leader. Your rig is your shock leader. Cut a sharp point at that, make it easier to get into your crimps. Feed that in. Grab your barrel swivel. Loop it up on there. Pull it down snug. Give you a little loop in there. Just like that. You don't want it to be so tight that it can't articulate in the water. Squeeze that crimp down. Good and tight. Take that, set it up here on your hook. Now make your first loop, overhand knot, pass your loop through the hole 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull it tight. As you're pulling, everything will tighten right up. And there's your loop. Now you're going to do an overhand. Make your loop like this. Pass it through 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take that loop you just made and the knot, pull it all through that hole. Make sure that knot is as close to that opening as you can when you come through. Then as you start pulling everything tight, you make yourself a nice little T-knot. And that's how it'll look. Now at this point, take a pair of side cutters, cut one side of that loop. Then you're going to cut a sharp point on this. Go ahead and thread on your beads. There's your 8 millimeter, your pompano float, and then you can do whatever color variation you want on your 6 millimeter. Usually I'll do 1 green and 1 pink or red, so while it's bouncing around in the surf, it'll get some attention. Then put your crimp on. And your hook. Ow. Them circle hooks will get you. Loop it over. Feed it back through. Some people like to leave them way out like this, but I like to pull them up tight within about 4 inches of your main rig. The reason for that is when you've got less of it bouncing around out there in the surf, you got less opportunity for those little fish to come up and pick your hook clean. So the shorter it is, you'll instantly feel that hit. Once you get it up tight, crimp it. Make sure you leave a little slack in there so your hook can articulate in the water a little bit. Then snip off the extra. And there's the first one for your high-low. Now for the second one. Again, overhand knot, pass through 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull it tight. Now your overhand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull that loop and knot through the hole, again keeping it as close to the opening as you can. And when you pull it down, you'll see everything come just right. And there we have it. Nice T-knot. Again, you're going to snip one side of that and cut a sharp edge on it. Make it easier to pass through those crimps. Oops. Go ahead and put on your beads, your float, and 2 more 6mm beads. Slip your crimp on there. And your number 1 gamakatsu circle. Using the crimps makes it a whole lot faster and a whole lot smoother for putting these rigs together. Crimp that down. And again, be sure you leave a little slack in there for the hook to articulate while it's out there in the surf. Snip off your excess. And there's the second one. Now, there's your full rig. Then at the bottom, I come down about 8 to 10 inches, cut it at a sharp angle. Slip your crimp on. And then your coast lock snap for your weight.